if you want to be happy, help other people be happy.
Welcome to the Cleaning Up Podcast, Millionaire Secrets of the Home Services Industry, brought to you by me, Ron Holt, CEO and founder of Two Maids and a Mop, America's fastest growing cleaning company. I get a chance to sit down with home service industry pros and other entrepreneurial leaders so they can share their stories, their insight, their experiences. It's so much fun. You're going to learn so much. You're going to be inspired to take your small business into a national brand just like I did. Let's jump right into the interview. Today, we have Craig Handley. Craig is the author of a book called Hire to Quit, Inspired to Stay, how focusing on employee dreams built an exceptional culture and an unbreakable company. Craig's the CEO of two companies, one a digital marketing firm called Social Close, but also a call center, kind of an interesting call center agency based in Mexico called ListenTrust. And the book that he wrote a while back that I had the pleasure of reading here recently was built on his story of building ListenTrust from the ground up and how using the Dream Manager program and sort of reinventing that for his own company created real success. So much success that Craig rarely even works inside the business today. So Craig, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. So call centers in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken, you're based in Maine. Is that correct? That's your home roots?
Yep, I grew up in Maine, and I still have a house in Maine, yes.
So how does a boy from Maine start a call center in Mexico?
I was doing a ton of consulting in the call center space, and we had some really good relationships with other call centers, and I would be, going into these centers and really helping them do sales training, write their scripting. We're helping find clients. I had this reputation for being able to write the best copy for a call center agent to be able to use in a call center environment, kind of a unique little stupid human trick. And so people would hire me in the direct response television space or the direct response space on the internet to work with their call center agents and write the scripts. And so I was, doing okay, probably making really good money at that. I mean, I was charging sometimes $50,000 for a script. But what you come to realize is that you still don't own anything and you're still trading time for money. And I have been helping people build call centers all over the country. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just build my own call center? And then when I started to do some research, I recognized that the Spanish market was growing in the U.S., and there was no call center focused on serving it. 70% of U.S. Hispanics are from Mexico. And so I just kind of said, well, why don't I build it in Mexico? When you're doing a startup, especially a call center in the direct response space, you basically have to put 50 people on the telephones to handle call spikes. So the U.S. was definitely, if I were to try to build it in the U.S., I thought it was going to be really expensive. I would have needed quite a bit of money. But in Mexico, I still needed quite a bit of money. The investment was around $250,000 to start, but it was a lot less expensive because the labor rates were cheaper, things like that. And because I ended up going to Hermosillo, Mexico, I went to Tijuana, Monterrey, Mexico City, Juarez, and Hermosillo had no call centers there ever. And we were there was one small place that was doing some stuff with Telcel. And we started off by taking 20 seats inside that small little call center. And within 6 months, we kind of figured out our stride. And within the first year and a half, we made Inc. 500 in our second year as the fastest growing private company in America. We were number 27 on the list. So that's how a guy from Maine ends up in Mexico.
So let's paint the picture even a little bit more. So, it started small. Sounds like some really cool research that went into it, like a lot of great ideas in business. And so it sounds like it's rooted in some strong fundamentals. From reading your book, I know that there was some early struggles, but where are you today? What's the business look like today?
It's interesting because it's evolved. We still do a ton of Spanish, but we've added English as Google and, these web pages. We're trying to put out content. There's a lot more digital marketing today than maybe television marketing. And so a lot of the Hispanics over 14 years, these younger Hispanics that are now the buyers in that market, they're now all bilingual. And so a lot of the content that they look at is in English. And so we still have a large percentage of Spanish phone calls and Spanish agents, but we also have a lot of English speakers who lived in the U.S. We weren't sure whether we could build English-speaking services in Hermosillo, Mexico. So we ended up trying to open in Belize, and we were in Belize for about a year because that's an English-speaking country. And we were having trouble with some performance things. I truly believe that to be a great sales center and service center, you can't be in the Philippines. You have to know American culture and American values. And you have to know about NBA and Major League Baseball and the NFL. And in Hermosillo, all of my agents that speak English have lived in the U.S., almost all of them, and they all root for the NFL. They play fantasy football. So when you talk to customers, they can perform just as if they're living in the U.S. And of course, our rates are less. So we look today. Today, we take a lot of sales calls in English and Spanish. We do a lot of customer service in English and Spanish and a lot of lead generation in English and Spanish. So I'd say it's probably 60% English now and 40% Spanish, whereas 6 years ago, we were 100% Spanish.
Gotcha. How many agents do you have on staff today?
About 800.
Got it. And you're working with your clients everywhere, right? And so let's go back to those early days, and we'll get to these days today as well. But one of the things that really stuck out to me about your story is one of your, you use the word culture a lot. Like every good entrepreneur, you want a great culture. But it's such in my opinion, an overused word, and it's easy to say, really hard to actually define. And so most people say it, but very few people actually do anything about it. In your case, you wanted to create a different type of culture, one built on success, maybe even outside of your organization. And so tell the audience, basically the whole premise of the book is built around this one principle, what you offered every new employee on the day that you hired them.
Well, it wasn't always this way, but I'm a big fan of, I'm friends with Tony Hsieh from Zappos, and I've heard him speak several times, and he always says the one thing he wishes he would have done differently is built out his culture sooner. And so I was running, as we were adding English services, I was doing all the training. And I was starting to, because it was brand new for us to add English, so we didn't do this right away. But what happened was I was doing all this training, and then I put them on the phones. And as soon as I got them on the phones, I almost had to retrain them. Because the training for somebody who is coming to a call center, it's not their passion, they almost didn't listen to the training, right, until the second time around. Once they started taking phone calls, I'd pull them off the phones, and I basically do the same training over again. And I started thinking, and I had, read the book, The Dream Manager, a long time ago. I'm friends with John Butcher, who runs a program called Lifebook. Lifebook is a program where they give you 12 pillars of happiness. And several years back, we had done a survey with Forrester Research where we had added 50 cents commission to an agent based on performance. And we had a 45-question survey, and we had gone through it. And then after we added the 50-cent commission, we did the survey again, and the happiness of the agents never changed. Well, then we did 50 cents going to charity. We partnered with a big charity, and for every sale, we were donating 50 cents to charity. And the performance in both cases was better. But the happiness score, we did the 45-question survey after we did the 50 cents to charity, and the agents were happier. The floors were cleaner, the bathrooms were cleaner, the security was nicer. I mean, all these things happened, and the only thing we changed is where the 50 cents went. So I was kind of, it didn't just happen. It was like years in the making. I said, I wonder what would happen if I trained my employees to quit. So we built out all the tools in our call center. We built out almost a masterclass platform where we had training on, I have my friend Vishen Lakiani runs a company called Mind Valley. And Mind Valley has master classes on relationships, parenting, all these different categories: fitness, health, meditation. They have all these great programs. And then there's actually a masterclass.com where you can learn about acting, where you can learn about comedy, where you can learn about, and then there's a masterclass on digital marketing that the company Digital Marketer put together, where you can learn about podcasts, you can learn about how to buy Facebook media. So we went and put all these tools together, all these master classes, so to speak, together, and created an intranet for all of our employees, an internal suitcase of tools in partnership with a lot of different people. And I started training people to quit. I started asking them what their big, hairy, audacious goals were. Did they want to swim with sharks? Did they want to go to Paris? Did they want to go to Disney World? Did they want to own a home? We started just getting people to dream. And then we started talking about their careers. What did you always want to do when you were a kid? We had people who wanted to be artists. We had a lawyer who wanted to be a lawyer. He was in my call center.
Right.
We had a girl who dreamt of working for the government. We had all these different things that people wanted to do, and nobody to support them. I've always wanted to be a musician. And my parents said, get a real job. and I'm today, I'm a musician. As much as I'm anything else, I write a lot of music. And I just wanted to support my employees as if they were my own children. So I started training them on how to quit.
Yeah, I've got to step in because this is, you just sort of skimmed over it like no big deal. That's just amazing, right? Because your call center agents, let's face it, they're not that much different than the folks that we hire in our network. We have professional housekeepers that right now there's 1,200 or more all across the states cleaning a house somewhere. And, all those folks live paycheck to paycheck. They, in some cases, live day to day. They have tough lives. And the truth is, this job is just that. It's typically a job, and it's a way to pay the bills and survive that next day. It's rare that an hourly wage employee has an opportunity to think about something bigger than tomorrow. And so the fact that you're starting to talk about these dreams with these folks and saying that not only can you accomplish these dreams, but you can use this business to one day quit to go accomplish those dreams, that is such an amazing testament to you. And it's also a heck of a leap, because there had to be some fear. I know Zappos is famous for it, but the truth is very few people have followed in his footsteps. And so were you nervous that this would actually work too good? Like too many people would quit quickly?
Not really. I think I just, all I really want to do is do the right thing, and people deserve to live. People deserve to be happy. So what we did is we did this dream trust around their dreams, but we created 6 pillars of happiness in the call center. So we focus on, our health pillar is January and June. And in January, we have people come in and they give away condoms. They talk about, self-checking your breasts for cancer. We have a dentist come in and do free cleanings. We do weight loss competitions. We make it really fun. February is relationships, February and July. We talk about relationships, and we have speakers that come in and talk about how to be in a relationship with a woman, how to be in a relationship with a man, what the differences are. So we created these pillars of happiness to teach people about happiness, and then we run right alongside of it with Dream Trust. And so this one kid who was a lawyer, we taught him how to do podcasts. He interviewed all the lawyers in Hermosillo. And one question that we had him ask on every podcast, and this is just coaching, right? Mentoring and coaching, was, what do you think the biggest hole in the legal community is here in Hermosillo? And after doing a podcast every week with a different law firm, every week for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, this kid knew exactly what to make his specialty in law. And he rented a building, put a shingle out. He called every lawyer that he was friends with now from doing a podcast. And he said, hey, I'm specializing in X. And it was the one area that nobody was focused in. So they all referred that business to him. So he had a thriving law practice in 6 months because of Dream Trust. Another kid dreamt of creating a boxing studio for kids, and we taught him about Kickstarter, and we taught him how to raise, some money locally with sponsors. And we also became a sponsor and bought the floor mats, the ListenTrust floor mats. And he literally opened a place for kids to come learn how to box and stay off the streets. And that's his focus now. Now he makes a full-time living doing it. A woman who wanted to work for the government. We wrote a letter of recommendation for her. I don't think they've ever had an employee come in with a letter of recommendation from a company who loves her and wants her to stay there and said, but her dream is to work for the government. And so we want to encourage our employees to dream. And this is her dream. So we think if you want someone who's going to be dedicated and committed, and we think you should hire her. And she had tried to get hired like 10 times. But the letter that we wrote for her, just a letter, she got her hired. And so she's now works for the government, and she's so happy. And we did a skydiving trip, let employees sign up. We did a shark dive. We did all these crazy things.
I've read that your turnover, this Dream Manager program, in your case, the Dream Trust program that you sort of redefined for your own organization, the premise is to quit. So you would think that if it's a success, then turnover would go through the roof. And you've even just now talked about a few examples of people who left the organization to pursue their dreams. But I've read that your turnover, and this is crazy to think in a call center environment, but it's in the single digits. Is that still the same?
Yeah. We're the place to be. People want to be at ListenTrust. And look, what we found is that a lot of employees have simple dreams. So simple, a lot of their dreams. They want a car, they want a house, and they want to go on vacation with their family. And a lot of people, a lot of times they don't have the money to go on vacation because they spend it, they need it. And so what we did is we hired, for part of our Dream Trust program, we had someone managing the program, but we hired a woman who was a former banker. And we had her reach out to all the different banks, and we sent our payroll in, the history of the company. I mean, we're 14 years old. We pay our employees an above average income for Hermosillo, and we've been around for 14 years. And so what we did is we said to the banks, what we'd like to do is give our employees the ability to get a car and a house. And in Mexico, credit is based on your length of employment. So what we said is, how long does one of our employees have to be an employee before you'll give them a bank loan? And we negotiated. Her job was to negotiate with the banks to get a lower interest rate and to get a time frame as to when our employees get a car. And within 6 months, when an employee works for ListenTrust for 6 months, we have 2 banks that'll approve them for a car loan automatically. And then we did the same thing with housing. And after you're an employee for a year at ListenTrust, we have banks that'll give you a house loan.
You know what I'm hearing here? You're a call center, but you're not a call center. How you generate revenue, how you pay the bills is from work inside that call center. You're a life business. You're a dream maker business. You're a purpose building organization for everyone that's a part of that. And it's just so uncommon. If not only is it uncommon, it's just a unicorn. Everyone that's listening to this show right now owns a small business that, for the most part, employs hourly wage employees, and they're in their own different business, probably not a call center, but it's the same challenges that you had. It's the same, it's the same across the board. And yet, you stand out alone. And so how can we get people to think like you? How can someone did you turn it on one day and then this all started just sort of cascading? Or was this a slow investment that sort of has the results that you see today?
I would say that it was a little bit of both. It was me training agents and being frustrated that they come out onto the floor. The desire that they had wasn't the right mindset to learn. So a lot of this came from saying, how do I get people to want to focus on the training out of the gate, as opposed to having that, here I am in another call center and, they're waiting to be turned over to go to another call center. And so a lot of it was that realization that what we were doing wasn't as effective as it could be. So now when we started doing this training on how to quit, I started explaining our commission plan. Well, the better you perform for our customers, the more money you make. If you are a top employee at ListenTrust, you're going to make 7,000 pesos a week. And the average pay in Hermosillo is 2,000. And so we start talking about the possibilities of what you can do if you're a great employee here at ListenTrust. And I explained to them, the better you are, the sooner you can quit and go live your dreams, right? And so that changed the way that the employees focused on training. So when they came out on the floor, they now had listened to everything I said because they understood that the commission plan and the fact that, look, if they're not good on the phones, they're not going to make it to 6 months. We're going to fire them, and they're not going to get a car. And if they're good on the phones, they're going to make it to a year and they're going to get a house. Everything that they need in life and want in life, they can get as a call center employee, including the ability to quit and live their dreams and do everything they want to do. But it all starts with performance for my customers on the telephones. And so that's it was a realization, and I put it in play, and then we developed it over the next 6 months.
I'm inspired. Hopefully by now everyone listening is also inspired. I mean, you've got to be intrigued by this story. This guy starts a call center in Mexico. We didn't even talk about all the problems you had. I know the story about losing the big customer and the negative cash flow that was created because of that. So you had all the financial struggles that every other big business owner has as they grow a business out of the gate. And yet you turned all that upside down and recreated this organization where it's 100% solely built on helping people find purpose in life, also allowing them to have an opportunity to chase their dreams. It's that simple. It's that simple, guys. And I know it seems hard. And there's a lot of stuff going on in your business. You've got your own accounting issues, and investing for the future. You've got payroll to meet. You've got an angry customer. You've got an employee that quit yesterday, maybe 2 employees that quit yesterday. And, it's tough. It's tough. And here I am, 2 guys talking about building dreams for their employees. And that's the secret. It's the secret, right? It's that simple. And it's at some point, if you really believe that it's the secret, then you got to do something about it. And it starts with you, Craig had to start with himself, and he's got some tall tales to tell he could share with you here, but he had to chase his own dreams, and I implore everyone listening that, if you really want your business to change, if you really want to hit that next level, think about your employees and what they want. You probably started a business, Craig, because you wanted to chase your own dreams. You had this really cool idea that there wasn't a Spanish speaking call center, so focusing on that segment here in these States. And there was some business planning to that. But you're like me, anyone that starts a business is missing something. And so they start that business to fill up that void, to find purpose and to chase dreams. An employee working for, minimum wage has the same dream, same exact dream, but they just aren't in the same life phase, I guess is the best way to put it. And so an organization, whether it's a cleaning company or a call center, can be that conduit for the minimum wage employee or really anyone to see the future, believe that there's a possibility to achieve it, and then go do it alongside that organization. So I'm just totally inspired, man. And I really needed this, to be honest with you, because in our world, it's not easy, hiring people in the cleaning world.
Well, especially during COVID, right? COVID just adds a whole other level of crap.
Absolutely. And so it's easy to look in the mirror and go, holy cow, it's just too hard. It's just too hard. Think about your organization as an opportunity to change people's lives and then really do it. Most people want to start a business to do that. I challenge this. Every business owner who starts a business not only wants to make money, but they want to use that business to change people's lives. But once you own that business, most people forget about that second part. And so if we think about that second part, and that's all we think about, sure, there's some investment, there's some time investment, probably some monetary investment as well. But what do you get back? I mean, Craig just talked about it. The average revenue for his store went up by 400%. From what I remember after instituting these policies. Now that wasn't your goal. Your main motivation was to help people chase their dreams. but all these other amazing benefits happen because of it. The same benefits you want right now with your business. And so I love your story, man. I love ListenTrust, and I love the book Dream Manager. We've talked a lot about it here on this podcast. In fact, but you're one of the first entrepreneurs I've met that have really went all in on it and has seen positive results because of it.
Yeah, it's been game changer. It's really, I mean, you feel so good too. You're helping people, and there's a lot of love that comes back, man. There's a lot of love when people are, the energy in your business when people are talking about getting a car and talking about, getting a house. It starts to snowball. You want to do more and more. We put a couple of employees on the phones, and we said, hey, we've got 800 employees. And we want to find restaurants that will offer discounts to our employees and movie tickets. And we literally created a marketing company to build benefits for the employees as part of the Dream Trust program. 20 restaurants, and we've got our own little Uber Eats. Our employees have ListenTrust cards, and the ListenTrust card saves them 20% on restaurants some places, 10%, 20%, free appetizers. It saves them on movie tickets. It saves them on. We just went to every local business, gyms, fitness centers, anything that we thought our employees might need. We went in and said, we've got 800 employees. Then we said, why don't we do this with other call centers? Let's create, so we called one of our competitors and said, hey, we're putting a benefits program together. We have 800 employees. You guys have 800 employees. If we went out with 1,600 employees and worked together, we could probably get deeper discounts. And so we started literally communicating with the other HR departments of competitive call centers in order to do more for our employees. And now the benefits card that we created for our employees in the call center space gives them so much value locally that they save hundreds of dollars every week on just normal stuff. And that's another value that people get by working with us.
Man, you just keep on coming. That's a great idea as well. All right, so I got a few questions for you. We'll do some kind of quick hitters here. So, since we're on the inspiring stories part of this interview, you already let the cat out of the bag. But of all the dreams that you've helped accomplish, what's the biggest one that you just couldn't believe that the person had in the first place, but couldn't believe later on that you actually helped someone pull that off? Do you have one front and center that you can share with us?
My COO, he was, here he is making almost $200,000 a year. And he wasn't a fan of this whole Dream Trust program because he was operations. And when he started seeing it work, it inspired him. And he had always wanted to own a golf course. And so he came into my office one day and he said, so I'm all done in January. He gave us, 3 months. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, this whole Dream Trust thing is pretty inspiring because I decided to live my dream and buy a golf course. And I said, really? Which golf course I'm buying? And he said, oh, this one right here. He explained the deal and talked about what he was doing. And, it was really inspiring. He then looked me in the eye and said, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, you're kind of a hypocrite. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, you've always wanted to be a musician, yet you're sitting here in a call center running operations. He goes, how come you're not pursuing music? And it was kind of a realization that I should be doing more with music. And so I hired an operations team at ListenTrust, hired someone to come in and run all the operations, and started doing more with music, and stumbled into building this new marketing company, Social Close, where we're doing amazing things for people, authors, people who have programs or products, and showing them how to use social media for organic growth and organic revenues. And so that kind of grew out of this. And so, but yeah, my COO buying a golf course is one of my favorite stories.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And I went and had lunch with him a few weeks ago, and his golf course, first of all, through COVID, he was a little nervous because he has a restaurant on his golf course, and his restaurant carries a lot of his revenue. But COVID created golfers because it was the one sport you could play.
Sure.
Where you could maintain 3 to 6 feet distances, so he had his best season ever, at his golf course. He already had in his plans and his budget to build this outdoor deck, and he ended up building an outdoor deck that was double the size of what he was planning. And so when the restaurant opened back up again, because they could only do the takeout and delivery, and when it opened back up, he had the one place that was really built, to be spaced properly, so his restaurant ended up flourishing. And I mean, he just put a campground because he owns so much property with the golf course. And he's halfway to Bar Harbor. So he now has a campground on his golf course where you could hook up and park there for the night while you're on your way to Bar Harbor or Booth Bay Harbor. It's a great stopping point. This winter, I just worked with plans with him this winter to put together a tubing trail on his golf course, and a few other things for winter sports. Where he's got all this land and some amazing sloping hills, and so I'm still working with him a little bit and helping him with his dream, which because I'm super creative. That's kind of one of my special stupid human tricks.
I like. Is he? How happy is he?
He's happy. He's really happy.
That's what it's all about. All right. Second question. I'm inspired. I'm excited. I'm ready to do something. What do I do right now? What do I do right now to start making some headway into pulling off something similar in my own organization?
I think the starting point is, what are your core values, right? Making sure you've got your core values in place, I think, is critical. You shouldn't have more than 5. So like Zappos has 10, but I think people should be able to memorize what your core values are. They should know what the company stands for. So I might go through the exercise of making sure I've got 3 to 5 core values written on the wall. I love the idea of the 6 pillars of happiness. So I think looking into maybe what Lifebook offers with their 12 pillars, trying to teach people what's important. There's nothing like the shock that you see in somebody's face when you talk about the differences between men and women, because most people don't get it. But there's 6 rules to being in a long-term relationship with a woman. And most people have no idea what they are. But one of them is, don't ever give a woman advice, right? Women should have other women to give her advice. As a man, we tend to want to give a woman advice all the time. But the facts are, if you're in a long-term committed relationship, you're going to be wrong as often as you're right. And so if you want to have a short-term recreational relationship, give her advice. Because over the years, you're going to be wrong so often that it's going to be wearing, and she's going to hate you at some point. And so that's just one of the 6 rules, right? In a long-term committed relationship is, when she asks you advice, go have chocolate in the car and just say, hey, I got you something. Let me get this for you. Avoid giving advice as often as possible. That's one of the 6. And when you talk to people about it, they go, oh, that makes sense. Another one is, if you own something in your family, don't equivocate. One of the biggest reasons relationships fail is because women are impatient. When your job is to take out the garbage, if you walk by the garbage or you finish watching the football game before you take out the garbage, every time she walks by the garbage, she's thinking that she's not going to fool around with you. She's like, he won't take out the garbage. Whereas if that's your job and the garbage is full, just get up and do it right away. If your job's the dishes and the dishes in the sink, do it before you watch football. So one of the rules for a man to be in a long-term committed relationship, one of the second rule, for example, is if you own something, laundry, dishes, garbage, if it's there, do it. Don't equivocate, because women, on those types of little things, women wear problems like a badge of honor. So if you're not getting the garbage, they're going to get all fired up. And then, of course, you start to have issues with sex in your relationship, and you start to have other issues. And it all stems from some of these little things. So we had a relationship counselor come in and tell men how to be in a long-term committed relationship with a woman. But then we explained to women how to be in a long-term committed relationship with a man. One of the rules for women is, if you're not having sex with them, somebody is. And so these are rules that women have to learn. To know that sex isn't a weapon in a relationship. You can't use it that way. And a lot of women do. And so my employees have gained so much value. We've saved marriages through the counseling. And so we put those in place. But then I guess the next thing is, ask people what they wanted to be when they were young, and then help them get there. And I could go on that topic for 30 minutes. I did build a curriculum, to share. So I'm happy if any of your audience reaches out to me directly, I'll share the curriculum that we put together.
That's a great offer. What I'm learning from this is it can be profitable to be good. It can be very profitable to be a good person that wants to help people build and shape their dreams. And, it's such a simple premise, such a simple concept. It almost seems too easy. Business is supposed to be hard, but we just laid out a framework, guys, for it to be very easy. And so I hope everyone's listening. It's this easy. It's not easy to pull off. You got to go do it. You can only talk about dreams so long. At some point, you got to help someone accomplish those dreams, and they got to see forward momentum from that investment. And so it's going to take some work to pull that off, but it starts with you. It starts with you listening to this show right now. If you believe that your job is to help people's lives become better because of their connection to you, then it starts with you. And I hope someone's listening. And I hope tomorrow, after hearing this interview, the next day you hear this interview, you do something to help someone that works for you, for their life to be better because of that relationship. And do it again the next day, and again the next day. And, you look back 365 days later, 1 year later, and if you could do that every day, your organization is going to be on a whole nother level. And that's what you wanted in the first place. You started a business to make money. But along the way, you figured out that making money wasn't the only way was probably not the right way to think, because making money is what everybody wants out of a business. But if you can think about your people and their dreams and help them chase those dreams, you will make money. Craig just proved it. You can make money. You can make so much money that you can not only let the business run by itself, but you can chase your own dreams. Craig's trying to be a famous musician. He's met a lot of them along the way. His business is still running. Dreams are still happening. So I hope everyone out there, whether you run a cleaning business or not, learns from this interview. It's the best one I've ever had, Craig. So I'm proud to have you on here, and super excited for our people to hopefully learn from it and pull off on the ground. So
yeah, and I'm happy to talk to anybody who wants to have further conversation privately. I'm more than happy to talk to them.
Why don't you give people an opportunity to connect with you, whether it's LinkedIn, email, however you want them to connect with you.
Yeah, LinkedIn and Instagram are two of the easiest ones. I mean, I'm Craig at ListenTrust.com. That's pretty easy. But I do check my LinkedIn, and I'm Craig Handley on LinkedIn, and I'm Craig Handley on Instagram. And I check my Instagram and Facebook. I've got my business page, and I answer my messages there. But so many people try to friend request me on Facebook on my regular, my family type page, and I've been at 5,000 people for so long that I can't eliminate enough people to add people on Facebook. So I'll answer if someone messages me on Facebook, but I can't always accept the friend request there through my personal page. I could only accept them through my business. So Facebook's a little bit more complicated, I think, than Instagram or LinkedIn, but I'm Craig Handley on the internet everywhere. So if someone just puts in Craig Handley, they'll see me, and they'll see that I'm very accessible.
And Craig's books, again, Hired to Quit, Inspired to Stay. Get a copy. It's worth it. Craig, thanks for your time today. It was a real pleasure, an honor. I hope you keep making people's dreams come true, along with your own dreams too.
Yeah, listen, it's the most exciting thing about what I do in my life today. I mean, if you want to be happy, help other people be happy.
All right. Well, we ended it with that. Thanks again, Craig.
Thanks for having me.
Hey guys, Beth Lovett in Business Development. If you enjoyed this episode, then please share with your friends, and don't forget to tune in to the next episode of Cleaning Up. Have you ever wondered if you wanted to be in business for yourself? If so, then don't hesitate to give me a call at 205-789-8027 or email me at bethl@ineedamaid.com. And if you just want a window shop, then you can see us online at twomaidsfranchise.com.